This video demonstrates how you might explore the statutory law that applies to nonprofit corporations within the state of Colorado. The screen shows the table of contents of the Colorado Revised Statutes. To find the law that applies to nonprofit corporations, navigate to Title VII, scroll down to click the button next to the heading Corporations-Continued. Then open the table of contents under Nonprofit Corporations and under Corporate Powers and Limitations. All of the articles between 121 and 137 make up the Colorado Revised Nonprofit Corporation Act. The article headings give you an idea of the content of each article. For example, Article 121 contains definitions and other general provisions. Take a look at Article 122. Within each article are numbered sections. For example, Section 102 explains what has to be included in the Articles of Incorporation in order to form a nonprofit corporation in Colorado. This page shows part of the law in Colorado. We would refer to this section as CRS, or Colorado Revised Statutes, Title VII, Article 122, Section 102. When you are writing about this section within a post or within a written assignment, you would refer to it the same way in the text, as I've illustrated on the screen. Colorado Revised Statutes, comma, Title VII, comma, Article 122, comma, Section 102. You should capitalize each of the words in that citation, and as long as you're referring to the current law, then that would be sufficient to satisfy the in-text citation rules. You can change the order of the reference by referring to the section number first, as I've illustrated here, Section 102 of Article 122 of Title VII of the Colorado Revised Statutes. The next entries here on the screen illustrate the different ways to refer to this particular section within your references. As long as you're referring to current law, any of these citation formats is acceptable. My preference when I'm writing is to use the Colo period, Rev period, Stat period, space, section symbol, space, 7-122-102 period. This section 102 illustrates something very important when you're reading the laws. Notice that this subsection 1 starts with the Articles of Incorporation shall state. This word shall is really important. Compare that language to the language in subsection 2 where it says the Articles of Incorporation may but need not state. The differences have to do with what is required and what is suggested or allowed. Whenever you're reading about a law or reading the law itself, if you see the word shall, then you should assume that whatever follows that word is absolutely required. In legal writing, the word must also indicates something that is required. On the other hand, if you come across the word may or should, then the language that follows is usually something that is allowed or suggested, as opposed to required. Next, I want to explain something about an online publisher. In this case, the publisher is LexisNexis. Publishers will provide headings and histories and other annotations to help somebody who is researching the law. So when you're looking at this page, all of these headings with the links are not part of the statutory law. The statute starts with this subsection 1 and continues down through subsection 4. When you get to history, again, this is information provided by the publisher about when this law was enacted. Here it was first enacted in 1997 and last amended in 2006. Sometimes a publisher will provide annotations. The publisher might include annotations to provide links or references to law review articles or even case law where the statutory section might have been discussed. Articles 126 and 127 are referring to the kinds of nonprofit corporations that have members, like zoos or art museums. Those articles do not apply when we're talking about a nonprofit corporation that doesn't have any members. It gets confusing because we refer to the people who serve on a board of directors as members of the board. For the rules that apply to meetings of directors, we have to look to Article 128. Part 1 of Article 128 includes the default provisions that apply to the election and removal of directors. If a nonprofit corporation's bylaws do not have any provisions on these matters, then these sections of law apply. Part 2 of Article 128 is where we find the law that applies to the meetings of the boards of directors. When you're reading the laws and you don't understand a word like quorum, or if you read something that is confusing, then look at the definitions section of the law that applies, or ask for help, either from your course instructor or from a research librarian.